Good morning. My name is Andrea Jenkins. I'm the president of the Minneapolis City Council, and I'm going to call to order this special meeting for Friday, February 17th. And I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to verify that we have the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Koski.
Present.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Ellison is absent. Councilmember Vitaw.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Goodman is absent. Councilmember Wonsley.
Present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Osmond is absent. Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Vice President Palmisano.
Present.
President Jenkins.
Present.
There are 10 members present.
Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. I do want to note that Councilmember Osmond is ill this morning. Councilmember Goodman has traveled to be with her ill mother in Chicago, and so can't join us for this special meeting today. And I haven't heard Councilmember Ellison's reason, but I am sure he is handling city business this morning. And I do want to note, colleagues, that we are using our speaker management this morning as well. So next we have the adoption of our agenda, and I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Koski.
Here. Aye.
Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Wonsley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
President Jenkins.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
That carries. The agenda is adopted. The mayor called this special meeting in order to consider the transfer of funds between departments for the purpose of hosting the I Am My Ancestors Wildest Dream Expo event, to be held on Saturday, February 25th at the Minneapolis Convention Center in celebration of Black History Month. And I will ask the staff from the Race, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department to advise us on the requested action.
Thank you, Council President. Hi, Council. We're excited about the I Am My Ancestors Wildest Dreams event for Black History Month, held next Saturday. I want to thank you all for coming in for this special meeting today. We do have two actions for request. One is to transfer funds to the REIB to centralize funding for this event. And the other is to increase the dollar amount for the event planning to allow for subcontracts.
Thank you. And I see in queue we have Councilmember Wonsley.
Thank you, President Jenkins. I'm bringing forward, and you'll see this resolution or amendment in front of you, where we would like to adjust the $145,000 towards supporting this to come from our contingency fund. That is a fund that we have created that takes care of unforeseeable costs. I think we can recognize this as an unforeseeable cost and feel like that is an appropriate funding source, and allows our departments that we know are eager to support this event, which is why they're listed on the original motion. It allows them to keep their, needed dollars, and allows us to take from a fund that is literally created to be responsive to, incidents like these. So just wanted to provide some context to the substitute motion in front of you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wonsley. Councilmember Wonsley has brought forward a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Councilmember Koski.
Well, thank you, Madam President. Sorry, this is the first time I've seen the new amendment, so was wondering if we could just discuss this a little bit and ask a few questions. So I know that there was an original motion here with these dollars coming, the $145,000 coming from different departments. Could we maybe just have an understanding of why we've changed this from the original ask to now coming out of our contingency fund? And then on top of that, I'm curious to know, you had described why we utilize contingency funds, but I see our director, Amelia Kruger, is here, so if maybe we can define what we use contingency funds for, and then also what the impact of taking this $145,000 out of the contingency fund would be.
Madam President, before we speak about the financing, we jumped queue a bit and made a motion as an amendment, but there wasn't an actual motion on the floor. So what we have in front of us, Councilmember Wonsley has offered a motion because we didn't have a motion to begin with. And so the motion is the resolution Wonsley-Chavez-Shugtai, which addresses a portion of the entire request on transfer of funds. It specifically deals with a total of $145,000 to come from the contingency fund to address a partial gap in funding for the Expo event that Director Green explained. If you refer to new business number 1, the original proposal that was not made and therefore not on the table, that was the latter half of the total funding transfer to come from 4 departments that were identified. So just to clarify, the motion we have is dealing with $145,000 in transfer from the contingency fund as the main motion. And certainly, if our budget director wants to respond to the questions from the council about the use of contingency funds, but to clarify what we've procedurally put in front of the body is a motion to address $145,000 out of the contingency fund, not the original motion, which was never moved.
So this is technically an amendment to a non-existing motion.
I think that's how it was originally proposed to be, but it got in queue first. And so the motion in front of us is the motion by Wonsley, offered on behalf of Wonsley-Chavez-Shugtai, the resolution that proposes to take $145,000 out of the contingency fund in order to provide some partial funding for the Expo event on Saturday, February 25th. So just to clarify, what we have in front of us is that piece. And we'll need to come back and address the other piece once we get the questions about the use of contingency funds disposed of.
Thank you. So at this point, then, I'll ask Ms. Kruger to please answer the question posed by Councilmember Koski.
Wonderful. Thank you, Council President Jenkins and Chair Koski. So our contingency funds are built into our financial policies. Our policies state that each year we will have a fund that we budget for that is equal to 1% of our total general fund spending that is held aside for unforeseen or urgent needs of the city. So if there is a sharp increase in costs for services, or if there is any unforeseen spending that needs to happen, or if there is, on the other side of that, a drop in revenues that was not foreseen in the budgeting process. We set aside 1% of general fund spending, which is about $6 million each year for these kinds of unforeseen costs. And so we are very early in the year, so that full $6 million is still in our contingency fund and will is moved throughout the year as things come up. Some years we don't use any of it, and some years we use it to cover things like additional snow emergencies, stuff like that. But those are the financial policies, and the appropriation in 2023 is about $6 million.
Could I ask a follow-up?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. Could you define then unforeseen? I mean, and maybe we can talk a little bit about what that means and how, if this event, consists of that, because I guess I'm a bit confused of what unforeseen means for this specific project.
So Council President Jenkins and Councilmember Koski, in our financial policies, there doesn't exist a definition that's any more specific than that in the public-facing financial policies. So I think that, as we move any funds from one department to the next, council approval is required. And so that's really, it is up to you, as the elected officials that approve transfers within departments, to make that determination if this fits within that spirit of those contingency funds. And unfortunately, in our financial policy, we don't have any further definitions about what exactly it is. It's meant as guiding parameters for folks managing the budget at the city.
Thank you.
So, colleagues, I see a number of people in queue. I am going to ask the maker of the motion, which is an amendment, if it is okay to postpone that amendment until we actually have the motion on the floor, so that we can proceed as on this council, following the rules, the Roberts Rules of Order, as well as the rules that we have established as this council.
Yeah.
Is that
Absolutely.
okay
That's
with
fine.
you? Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So, colleagues, I have a printed motion at the desk today that includes the approval of the funding items that are listed on the agenda, as well as the additional $290,000 in ARPA funds that was not included in the original staff report due to a clerical error. And I will make the motion to approve item number 1 as listed on the agenda, which includes the amendment that I just mentioned, and I will entertain a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. And I was going to ask this off of the Wonsley amendment, but it's really a question about the original underlying amendment, which is this $110,000 from the Office of City Clerk. That seems to stand out compared to $5,000 from fire, $10,000 for neighborhood and community relations, and $20,000 for regulatory services. So I'm wondering, what's the consequence, Mr. Clerk, of that cut? What are we losing or not getting, or what changes, if anything?
Madam President, to Councilmember Johnson's inquiry, the monies that were proposed to come from the Office of City Clerk are specifically from the Elections and Voter Services Division within the Clerk's office. As you know, we have an election this year. It's a city election, but it's limited under state law to just the 13 ward seats. So this is not a citywide election in the normal sense of mayor, council, park board, and board of estimate and taxation, but an election of just the 13 ward seats. We don't have a primary as a consequence of that. We also are able to reduce the amount of voter outreach that we would normally do on a city election that includes the entire municipal ballot. So this is primarily a cut that would reduce our ability to do outreach and engagement functions in elections around this year's election for municipal council only.
Okay, wow. That's a significant impact. Thank you.
Next in queue is Councilmember Vito.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a couple questions. The first one is, what is the total budget for this event?
Council President, Councilmember Vital, the total budget for the event that we're coming before you on, or the total budget including the money that we spent in 2022 for event planning?
No, this event in
This
particular.
event,
Yep.
$450,000.
Okay, so the total is 450, and we're asking for the additional 145. Can you tell me the specifics on what we need, the 145, please?
Yes, so we received a bid from Chrome, and Chrome is a organization that builds out the convention center. So the convention center uses Chrome and one other vendor to do the build outs for the expos, and the invoice from Chrome was $140,000.
Okay, and so what is this? There's a business on here. Oh, hold on one second. Touched Apparel.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, Council President, Councilor Vital. The Touched Apparel is the event planner.
Okay, so it's not, the money is not for the event planner, it's for the,
The extra money that we are requesting is for the build out of the event itself.
okay. And then my last question is, I previously had a conversation with your staff, and they told me that there was going to be some corporate sponsorships for this event. Did we get any of that?
Council President, Councilmember Vital, we did, but we could not receive those funds.
You mean like the department couldn't receive the funds?
That is correct.
Can you tell me more, please?
As far as I understand from Susan Trammell, when I was fundraising for this event, I guess I wasn't able to do that under city rules. So the money that we were receiving from corporate sponsorships, we had to return.
Okay. Do you remember how much money that was?
Well, Bush Foundation had offered us $3 million, but they had some stipulations that we could not satisfy. And I would say we probably had about almost 200,000 in funds from organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Chugtai, this is odd though, because Councilmember Wonsley was in queue first. Got it. All right, Councilmember Chugtai.
Thank you, Madam President. Director, I'm actually not sure if this is a question for you or if it's for our budget director or someone else. But it sounds like you found the money that your staff told us last year you would be going out and fundraising, and then ended up giving the money back to the sources it was coming from corporate sponsorships, like Councilmember Vita asked about. Why did you not explore a formal gift acceptance through the city, which we authorize all of the time from other foundations, organizations? I just wonder if you can speak to why you didn't come to us for a gift acceptance instead.
Council President Jenkins, Councilmember Chugtai. That was the intention, but after the meeting with the ethics officer, I was told that that's something that I wouldn't be able to do, and I should partner with a foundation, and they would receive those funds. And I lost my father on November 25th, so when that happened, all of that kind of fell apart.
First of all, I'm very sorry about your loss. I wonder if there's anyone else here who can speak to why we didn't do a gift acceptance. Otherwise, I'm actually happy for us to move on and get this over with.
Yeah, I think she explained it. Is there any more to be added to that explanation?
Perhaps maybe the attorneys can chime in here.
Just don't understand.
It sounds like it was the attorney's office that said we couldn't accept any of those funds.
So, Council President, Council members, so my understanding of the ethics rules is that we can't, as individual city employees, directly solicit for contributions. There needs to be an arm's length between ourselves and that solicitation, just because of kind of that strong arm of the government, so that entities don't feel like they're being involuntarily coerced into giving funds. So that's why, the advice is that you actually, contract with another entity that would then, have that arm's length relationship and solicitation.
I guess I'm confused because I have seen multiple agenda items through our Policy and Government Oversight Committee. I'm not a member, I'm not a part of the discussions, but I do look at those items before we vote on them formally. And I've seen multiple gift acceptances for specific employees to go to trainings. I've seen gift acceptances of items that specifically came because the organization giving us the money had a direct relationship with an elected or a department head in the city, and that's how we brought those funds in to do a specific thing that served the public good. And so I don't quite understand how this would be different from something that we do all of the time.
So, Council President, Council members, the distinction is the solicitation or lack thereof. So entities absolutely can give gifts to the city. They come in all of the time. The council accepts them. The limitation from an ethics perspective is that we're sort of using our official positions to solicit those gifts. You know, they can be voluntarily given without the solicitation.
So an example, if someone wants to gift a bench to the city of Minneapolis, then we would accept that. Or if someone wants a city employee to attend a conference, they will say, we will pay for your travel and your hotel, and we accept those gifts. The difference is we cannot go out and solicit gifts from corporations without having a buffer, an arm's length relationship with another entity, which is exactly how we fund the Trans Equity Summit. We partner with, I believe, the Women's Foundation to accept donations to be able to then pull off that event. And I think that's what could have happened in this scenario. However, Director Green, you know, was rightfully mourning the loss of her father, and subsequently didn't have the opportunities to pursue those kinds of relationships. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. And I think we get the technicalities around that. I'll say, though, and maybe this is because I've never gone out soliciting funds on behalf of the city, aside from the IGR role where we're talking to legislators about funding. I think the surprising part in this is when we have partners like Bush Foundation, there's Minneapolis Foundation. I mean, these are not corporations out there doing their own business, and then the city comes and, you know, surprises them. These are partners that we work regularly with, that we have relationships with, that are invested in helping advance the work of the city. And so the idea that we couldn't communicate a need to them, that they would then turn around and say, hey, we're able to help with that, is surprising. I frankly didn't realize that that wasn't a thing that we could do in that capacity and in that context, most importantly. So I understand the ethical ideas behind and the principles behind the rule, because I agree we don't want the city going out and soliciting from corporations directly, but it does sound like there might be some opportunity for this body to at least kick the tires a bit more on that when it comes to long-standing community partners and how we communicate with them and what the rules are. So I'll put that
certainly
out there.
that could be a thing, Councilmember Johnson. However, we have on our agenda today this item before us, and we can't really talk about.
I understand that, Madam
future
President,
policies.
but I was just speaking to this since this issue came up. So I wanted to finish my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Councilmember Wonsley.
At this time, I would like to bring the substitute resolution that I've brought forward, and just to provide some clarity on this, because I know my amendment did not have some of the language that's in the Jenkins resolution, but I would like to basically reconcile them to say, you know, the section after the American Rescue Plan Act Fund by $290,000 from the Corridor Activation Project, and that's where we would insert my language to say, you know, that in the general fund by $145,000 in support of the inaugural blah, 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 and decreasing the contingency fund from that, and then pulling parts 1 through 4 where we listed departments. So I just wanted to spell that out so we can take a vote on the whole package. And I know Casey could probably also provide some more clarity on that.
Madam President, if I might just follow up on Councilmember Wonsley's substitute proposal, which I just emailed all council members, and I'll send it to the clerk as well so they can provide printed copies. The attorneys are also on this. I believe what Councilmember Wonsley is bringing forward is a unified motion that does many things, which I'm going to use a visual aid. If you have this at your desk, this is the RCA that goes along with this item, and it outlines what is essentially 2 separate actions. The first combined action deals with the resolution, which is appropriations of money being transferred from various sources. The second one is specifically authorizing an increase to the existing contract with Touched Apparel for expanded event planning services. What this motion would do, that you should have in front of you via email, and we're getting paper copies, is it would reconcile the distinguishing differences, if you will, between the original proposal that was at your desks, authored by Jenkins, and the substitute or amendment that was brought forward by Councilmember Wonsley and others. And so what you see is that the above entitled resolution, this is the budget resolution, would be amended to go ahead and approve the transfer from ARPA funding in the total amount of $290,000 to the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department, and it would take an additional $145,000 from the city's contingency fund and combine those two separate funding sources together, transfer that to the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department for the I Am My Ancestors' Wildest Dreams Expo event scheduled for Saturday, February 25th, 2023, and it would also then authorize the increase to an existing contract, it already exists, with Touched Apparel by $67,000 for expanded event planning services for that same event. So it attempts to reconcile all of those issues into one action in front of the body now, which would be the appropriation or reappropriation of funding, again, from ARPA funding and from contingency fund, transferring all of that money to the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department for this event, and it would increase by $67,000 the existing contract in order to complete the work on this Expo event through expanded event planning services. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I see that the clerk is handing out printed copies of that. We'll have additional printed copies here for the public. It's in your email box if you can pull it up in front of you, and hopefully that makes some sense. Happy to speak further on details, but I believe, Councilmember Wonsley, that captures the intent.
Yes, thank you, Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Carl. And so now we have Councilmember Wonsley's substitute motion in front of us. Are you wanting to speak to this substitute motion, Councilmember Payne? Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I support this motion. I think this is a much cleaner way of moving forward and making sure that we're not having negative impacts on our departments. And then just, I think as an aside, we should probably just, as a body, think through what the right process is for, because we know a lot of private foundations are in partnership with the city, and it can be really complex on how we partner and make sure that those things happen successfully. So I think we should just move forward with this vote, and I support it.
Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, Madam President. So, yeah, I just want to be super clear here. I support this event. I am so excited for this event. This obviously all came to us. This is new that there was just the financial pieces of it needing to be solidified here at the end. I guess I would say that I am open to understanding as a body of how we want to move forward. I am a little bit concerned about using contingency funds. It is a small portion of the $6 million, but there was an already original plan, and now we're switching it kind of last minute. So I still think I am a bit confused of this being an unforeseen cost, and that we're using contingency funds, and I feel like, are we setting a precedent for how we utilize contingency funds? I heard snow plowing or other ways that we've used it in the past. So I absolutely want us to figure out a path forward of how we fund this, and we can do this. I just still, I'm gonna put it on that, I guess I'm not that new anymore. It's only been a year, but I have not had this, this opportunity to have this kind of dilemma before. So just curious, maybe some of the authors can speak a little bit more to why you feel moving it from the departments to the contingency fund is the best mode for this program.
Council President.
Yeah. Councilmember Chavez, I guess you are, well, you're not necessarily the author, but.
I think actually I am, Council President. Councilmember Koski.
Well, it says substitute motion by Wonsley, but please,
Right there.
Councilmember Chavez, go ahead.
Thank you, Council President.
Because that motion is no longer relevant anymore.
Okay,
We dismissed that motion.
Well,
and
to
we
be
have
clear,
moved
the
on to
resolution.
Wonsley motion, but please make your point, Councilmember.
Like I said, this resolution, this motion, whatever we want to call it nowadays, is by Councilmember Wonsley, myself, and Councilmember Chuck Chai. To answer Councilmember
Well,
Koski's.
technically, sir, it does not say that on the motion.
Council President, I'm sorry, can we please just do decorum and let Councilmember Chavez speak?
Thank you.
Just reset, please. Thank
To
you.
answer Councilmember Koski's point, I think there is concern that a lot of this money is going to come from our legislative department. And I know our clerk just said it's going to come from elections on a year that the mayor is not on the ballot. I will say this. Yes, the city council is on the ballot, and we need to make sure that we are reaching out to as many people as possible about our election in a nonpartisan way. There's people that speak Spanish, Somali, and different languages, and we need to make sure that people know an election is coming and that it's accessible to everybody in different languages to show the diversity of this city and why it's important. I do not want to be taking money away from our elections department and cause some voter suppression in the city of Minneapolis. I just don't. I think this should be coming from the contingency fund because it's an emergency, and if it's not an emergency to some people, taking this money can cause an emergency to our legislative side.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Chugtai.
Thank you, Madam President. To speak to Councilmember Koski's question, like our budget director said, we don't have a very clear definition of what unforeseen circumstances or an unforeseen expense is, but I would read our financial policy and the appropriate uses for our contingency fund and say, in the situation that we have in front of us, where we have to pay for the costs of an event that's incredibly important to our city, to a lot of us as policymakers, to one of our newer directors and a new department that we've been growing, and to marginalized residents in our city. And the only way to fund it is for us to find money in our budget. That sounds like a cost that we did not see coming, an unforeseen cost. And I think that makes it an appropriate use of contingency. And we're talking about pulling $145,000 from the contingency fund. This is not an enormous amount of money. We're not bankrupting the fund. And I hope that, provides clarity to where you're coming from.
Vice President Palmisano.
Madam President, I'd like to call the question.
Council Vice President has called the question. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Chugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Goodman is absent. I'm sorry. Councilmember Wonsley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
President Jenkins.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes.
And so now, colleagues, we have before us the substitute motion by Councilmember Wonsley.
Madam President, just before there's a vote taken, as is standard practice, if any council member wishes to be added as a co-author, I'm assuming that council members Chavez and Chugtai would like to be added as co-authors. I just need council members to indicate that to me, and we can certainly make that happen.
Is that an affirmative?
Yeah.
Yep.
So colleagues, before us, we have a substitute motion by council members Wonsley, Chugtai, and Chavez, amending the 2023 General Appropriation Resolution and authorizing an increase to contract COM 0006234 with Touched Apparel LLC for expanded event planning services. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember, you can't second your own motion.
Madam President,
Second.
there's more than one council member as the author, so we would assume there's a second.
Second.
Great.
Clerk, please call the roll.
And just to clarify for members before I start that process, Madam President, this is a dispositive vote. In other words, normally when we have a substitute, it's whether or not we want to substitute for the main motion. But we cleared the decks on this one, so the vote on this is for final passage on that substituted motion that's in
The
front of you.
entire motion.
Correct. Councilmember Koski. Aye. Councilmember Shugtai.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Wonsley.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Vice President Palmisano.
Aye.
President Jenkins.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes.
That carries, and that motion is adopted. And finally, we have the order of announcements. Are there any comments from council members? Seeing none, we have completed our business today, and with no further business to come before the council and without objection, I declare this meeting adjourned.
For all license types. Business licensing will mail out a renewal billing notice approximately 45 days before your renewal is due. Most licensees will only need to verify the information on the bill. If there are no changes, sign it and pay the amount due. Now let's go step by step through a renewal